Hello everyone, this is the presentation from Space Junior College which is located in Kadiri near to Kumaravanlapalli, and our principal is Srimati G.S. Sarita Prashant Garu and myself Rubina Faraz, lecturer in botany. In the previous class we have discussed about the bacterial cell structure, and today we are going to discuss about the nutrition in bacteria. First of all, we will see what is the nutrition. Is that necessary for the living organisms? Means yes, it's very necessary to all living beings. And coming to the definition of the nutrition, it is the process of taking in food is called nutrition. And food is required by all living things. You know that very well. Food provides us energy so that we can perform different activities during the day. That means every living being on this earth requires energy and nutrients to survive. So here in today's topic we are discussing about the nutrition in bacteria. Like green plants, some bacteria are able to produce their own food material while some are not. On the basis of that, bacteria majorly divided into two types. They are autotrophs and heterotrophs. First of all, we will see about the autotrophs. What is autotroph means? Auto means self and troph means food. So an autotroph is an organism that can produce its own food material by using sunlight energy, water and carbon dioxide. In other terms, the bacteria which can synthesize their own food material like green plants, we can call it as autotrophs. Why we are calling them as autotroph means they contain photosynthetic pigments in their body, that is chlorophyll, and you know that very well. This chlorophyll is very necessary for the preparation of food material. Example to autotrophic bacteria. Here you can see the Chlamydomonas bacteria, cyanobacteria and blue-green algae. Depending on their energy sources, the autotrophic bacteria again divided into two types. They are photoautotrophs and chemoautotrophs. Coming to the first one, that is photoautotrophs. Photo means the light energy. The bacteria also synthesize their food by using sunlight energy. Those bacteria we can call it as photoautotrophic bacteria. As we know, plants have chlorophyll which helps plants in photosynthesis. So like plants, bacteria also possesses chlorophyll like pigment called the bacterial pigment. It gets excited after receiving the sunlight energy. This excited energy reaches to photosynthetic region where cyclic reaction happens, and the result is ATP formation. ATP means adenosine triphosphate. We can say that this ATP is very necessary to carry out all cellular functions. Example to photoautotrophic bacteria is Chromatium purple sulfur bacteria and Chlorobium green sulfur bacteria. Coming to the next thing, that is the chemoautotrophs. Here, chemo means chemical compounds. This chemoautotroph have an unusual nutritional adaptation that requires neither sunlight nor organic nutrients. That means these chemoautotrophs utilize various compounds in place of light for energy to produce their own food material. And we can say that these bacteria derive energy from the oxidation and inorganic substances and carbon from atmospheric carbon dioxide. Example for the chemoautotrophic bacteria is Nitrosomonas bacteria and Beggiota bacteria. Here you can see the Nitrosomonas bacteria and Beggiota. Nitrosomonas which oxidizes ammonia into nitrite, and Beggiota which oxidizes hydrogen sulfide and stores elemental sulfur as granules in its filaments. And another thing is that is heterotrophs. Hetero means different. That means they cannot synthesize their own food material like animals. When bacteria do not synthesize their own food, in fact they obtain nutrition from other sources which are present in surroundings called heterotrophs. So they utilize living or dead organism to meet their nutritional requirements, and we can say that these heterotrophs are basically pathogenic bacteria of human beings, animals and plants. Depending on their energy sources, these heterotrophs also divided into two types. They are photoheterotrophs and chemoheterotrophs. These photoheterotrophs, they capture light energy and carbon from other organic sources. Example to photoheterotrophs are Rhodospirillum and Rhodopseudomonas. And the next thing is chemoheterotrophs. Basically, they derive both carbon and energy from organic compounds. They are categorized into three types. They are parasites, saprophytes, and symbionts. Coming to the first one, that is parasites. These parasites derive nutrients from the cells or tissues of a host. That means here the bacteria would live in the host and it would obtain its nourishment from the host body. Example for the parasite, we can take disease caused bacteria, that is Vibrio cholerae. It is found in our body. That means our body becomes the host and it reproduces and it obtain nourishment from our body. And the second thing is saprophytes. Basically, they are free living organisms that feed primarily on organic detritus from dead organism. That means they obtain their nourishment from dead and decaying organic matter. Here we take the example of Clostridium bacteria. It helps in decomposition and it breaks the dead organic matter, and that's how they obtain their energy. Next is symbionts. In symbiotic, both the one that is bacterium and the other organism with which this bacterium is symbiotic, there is a mutual benefit to both the partner. Suppose we take the examples of Rhizobium leguminosarum bacteria, which is found in symbiotic association with the leguminous plants. Here we can say that association is mutually beneficial to both. So Rhizobium fixes the nitrogen for the plant, and the plant provides nourishment, water, shelter to bacterium. You know, this Rhizobium bacteria survives in the roots of leguminous plants. For example, if you observe the legume plants like groundnut, pea, gram, they have certain swellings in their roots. Those swellings we can call it as nodules. What exactly happens for the nodule formation means the bacterium, that is Rhizobium leguminosarum, which is found in soil, and it penetrates into the roots of leguminous plant. If you observe the diagram, you can see here the bacterium enters into the root hair as a chain-like structure. That chain-like structure we can call it as infection thread. As soon as this infection thread goes into the root hair, it slightly curves like a hook-like structure, and that infection thread goes into the cortical region of the root, and there it will form a tumor-like structure. Those structures we can call it as nodules. There it will fix the atmospheric nitrogen for the plant. So these two organisms, bacterium and legume plants, their association is symbiotic. That means they both are benefited from each other. How means the bacteria fixes the nitrogen for the plant and the plant provides nourishment, water, shelter to the bacterium. So this is regarding about the nutrition. In the next class, we will discuss about the reproduction in bacteria and the economic importance of bacteria. Have a nice day. Thank you.